And I was at home one night. I had my own breathing machine. And like I said, kind of in and out of the hospital. And it was in the middle of the night and I was alone and I started to gasp for breath. And I just thought to myself, like, this is it. I'm dying. I can't stand up. I can't get up. It's my last breath. Like I said, it's just really a very scary feeling. Anyone that experiences not being able to breathe, but to feel like you're being suffocated, I just, like I said, was just terrified. So I did really what came to me in that moment to do, which was pray. So I prayed to my grandmother who is in spirit. And we always had a very close bond growing up. And I prayed to her and I just said, like, please help me. Like, I don't want to die. I started to leave my body. And at that time, I was looking down at my body and I could feel the presence of angels around me in the room. But there was one angel in particular that I knew was Archangel Michael. He didn't have to really announce himself. It was his presence was taller than my ceiling. It took up every ounce of my room. And at the same time, my grandmother was there and in spirit as well. And I started to feel this presence of Mother Mary around me. And so as I was viewing my body and kind of in this almost state of confusion, like, am I dying? What's going on? I was still had my thoughts. I still had my consciousness that I was thinking. And I started to travel within my awareness into kind of what felt like a dark tunnel, but it felt warm and it felt safe. And I still felt that presence of my grandmother in spirit. I still felt that presence of Archangel Michael. In fact, he started to communicate with me. He started to telepathically, kind of like this telepathic thought transfer. It was the way he was communicating was telling me all these messages about my life. And so as I was traveling in this tunnel, it really felt like time stopped, like everything was at this like standstill. And there was so many things happening at once where I could see that my body was on my bed and that I say they, but these energies, my grandmother, the angels, they seemed to be breathing into my body. And at the same time, I was traveling in my awareness and completely out of my body and just experiencing my pure consciousness. And as I was traveling, they said, this is a divine intervention. And we are performing a miraculous healing on you for you to understand that you are not confined to your body, that you are limitless, that when I say you, what they told me about myself is what we all are. So we humans are born and we think we are our bodies, we think we are our thoughts, we think we are our mind. But what they said is that we are boundless, we are infinite potential, and we are not our bodies, we are not our thoughts, we are not our mind. And so they said that I am a seed in the universe, that I am omnipotent, and that my true power is the source that I stem from. And that is who we all are. And that is why they're performing this miraculous healing. And so the miraculous healing, what they explained to me was that they were opening up my consciousness and that they were washing away the limited beliefs that I was holding inside my chest. And there was a point in this whole experience where Archangel Michael seemed to be the one leading the conversation. And he said, now I'm going to take you to the source that you stem from. I'm going to show you that this power that you are, this unlimited possibilities and potential that your true essence, that you are a part of, that we are all connected to, and you're going to become one with this power source. And so in my consciousness, I moved into this ball of light, it was not just an energetic source. It felt that my consciousness merged with this one consciousness that is all that exists. And I became one, and I experienced just this feeling of euphoria. And while this was happening, which is hard to kind of explain because you're like having, in this life, it's kind of like things happen in a linear fashion, but no, not on the other side. So while that was happening, at some point, I had this, telepathic conversation with my grandmother in spirit. And I said, how is this happening? That like, you came to me and like performed this divine intervention. And it seemed like she kind of, was the one who helped this all happen and really saved my life, And she said, because we are twin flames, that we are never apart. We will never be separate. I am your twin soul. Now, I know that some people think that twin souls have to be like that romantic partner, but it really flipped everything on the head for me as far as that goes, because obviously my grandmother and I, she's my grandmother and I was her granddaughter. But I do believe what she said to me. And I do believe that she was able to perform that divine healing, because I do believe that, like she said, we are twin flames and twin souls. And we've always had this like unbelievable bond, and we shared a lot of the same characteristics growing up as far as like what we did for a living and just even like our energy. So that was very interesting. And I asked her about a couple of people in my life at the time that were struggling, and the answer kind of came to me from different sources. It was like the answer, like when I would ask questions, sometimes I would feel the presence of my grandmother, and sometimes I would feel like it was Archangel Michael who was speaking. And so when I was asking for a couple of people in my life to help them, because they were struggling too, they said that's going to work itself out. And it's very interesting because the way that they explained it seemed now that what they meant by that it was their own karmic lessons. Everything that they were going through had to be like their divine free will. So there was the complete like emergence or oneness that I had with source. And they explained to me again that they were going to perform this miraculous healing. So they took away the sorrow and the guilt that I had from my divorce and over a lot of the things that I was experiencing in my life. But the main thing that was the biggest miracle was that when they said that they were opening my consciousness and that I was going to become one with source, what really happened was this divine activation that carried through with me in my life after the near-death experience. So after that oneness, and after my grandmother explained to me about who she was with me in the twin flame, they said that this was going to be a reckoning the first night, and that within this divine intervention, there was going to be 3 visits. The first night that the whole near-death experience was the reckoning. That was the word they used. I don't even really know that word. So it was the reckoning, that they were going to come back to me the second time, and it was going to be an awakening. And the third night was going to be a rebirth. And so I asked them, I said, oh, okay, so I'm not dying. Because I thought I was out of my body, completely separated. And they said, no, we want you to spread this message. We want you to share this message to help other people activate their true power. And you are going to write books, and you are a healer. And so it was kind of like in that moment, again, everything changed. It was this divine intervention really was like, again, this alignment into really, I believe, what is my true purpose and what I'm supposed to do in this lifetime to help other people. And as they started to send me back into my body, they started to explain to me and kind of land my consciousness into my chakra system. So they went into the top of my head and they started to, excuse me, explain like, these are the feelings and these are the associated characteristics of this consciousness, of this chakra. And then I started to slowly assimilate my consciousness back into my physical body. Our true power is that we are not defined by our physical bodies, by our thoughts, by our feelings, by our mind. Our true power is that we are God, we are source. What we stem from, we are one part of a whole of source, meaning that we are a fragment, a spark of that power that we stem from. And so most people really, me including, operate their life thinking they can only be what they're thinking or what they're feeling, and that they are defined, let's say, by what has happened to them or their circumstances. And I do believe that it is the evolution of this planet Earth that we remember our true essence, and that we really like claim our power and take that back and start to expand our consciousness. Because what I can tell you is that when I left my body, I was my consciousness. So our consciousness is eternal, and we still experience thoughts. I can't necessarily say I had any other feeling other than a loving feeling, but our consciousness is eternal. It can't be destroyed. Energy can't be destroyed. And my message really is to help people tap into the full potential that they have, so that they don't attach themselves to their limitations, that we understand we experience limitations, but we are meant to heal them.